News now at this hour begins in the west of the continent, where Nigeria's Labour Party has refuted claims by the presidency that its presidential candidate, Peter Obi, and his supporters are behind the planned nationwide anti-government protest scheduled for August 1. The president described the calls for protests under the hashtags Tinubu Must Go and Revolution 2024 as treasonable. In a lengthy tweet published on its X account on Saturday, the special advisor to the president on information and strategy, Bayo Onanuga, accused Peter Obi and his supporters of spreading the hashtags, alleging that they are not Democrats but anarchists. Onanuga, however, proposed a Save Nigeria rally from August 1 to 15, 2024, in response to the planned nationwide protests from August 1 to 10 against the rising cost of living and economic hardship. He claimed that those organizing the protests were also behind the NSAS protests of October 2020, which later turned violent. In the meantime, the Nigerian government has revealed its plan to spend 3 trillion naira on the new minimum wage and pensions. Minister of Budget and Economic Planning, Atiku Bagudu, revealed this during a meeting with the Senate Committee on Appropriations. President Bola Tinubu recently approved a new minimum wage of 70,000 naira for Nigerian workers and pledged to review the national minimum wage law every 3 years. Following this, the National Assembly passed an amendment to the 2024 budget, increasing it to 33.7 trillion naira. In a letter to the Senate, President Tinubu requested the withdrawal of 3.2 trillion naira from the Consolidated Revenue Fund for capital expenditure and an additional 3 trillion naira for recurrent expenditure. The Senate promptly moved the requests through first and second readings and tasked its committees to review and report back within a week. Some Nigerians have tasked the nation's lawmakers to come out clean on how their donated salaries will be applied to tackle the current hardship affecting citizens. This followed the announcements by members of parliament from the House of Representatives, who say they are donating half of their salaries for the next 6 months to help tackle the current food crisis affecting citizens. Idong Joseph reports.
To make sacrifices with our salary.
The announcement of the deduction of about 300,000 naira each from the salaries of about 360 lawmakers from the House of Representatives for the next 6 months had followed an appeal for organizers of a planned nationwide protest, which is scheduled to start from August the 1st, to shelve their plans. The protest is expected to get government's attention on the increased hardship being faced by citizens in the last 1 year.
The people of Nigeria, your crying is right. Your complaint of hardship is right. But is the solution found in carrying placard and lining the streets?
You have right to protest, our young men. But the nation first. We should be patriotic, we should be nationalists.
Acknowledging the concerns of the proponents of the proposed protest, lawmakers appealed for calm, urging aggrieved citizens to allow government's policies to manifest and tackle current hardship. They expressed confidence that the policies will get the nation's economy back on track.
We are appealing to our young men to give the government the benefit of the doubt.
I'm moving that we amend that prayer to include that members sacrifice maybe 50% of our salary.
With the gesture by the lawmakers being applauded by many citizens, they however raised concerns on how the monies donated will be delivered to those who need the support.
Are they going to be deducted as source, or each person would actually release this upon payment to the central account that will be dedicated for this purpose, and then that same transmitted to appropriate government office?
Some members of parliament, including several citizens, are also urging those in the executive arm of government to follow suit.
Just now, we cut our salaries. Mr. Speaker, I want to appeal to executive to do so. From Mr. President to vice president, to ministers, to chief executive officers.
We must all come together to build a more formidable Nigeria and to ask the government of the day to look into issues that have been driving so many agitations in this country.
As a country, if we want to succeed, there is the need to pay a lot of attention to the state governments as to how they apply the resources of the people.
The lawmakers are also calling for dialogue with the proponents of the protest, saying if the situation is not properly managed, the protest can be hijacked by hoodlums and miscreants and lead to the destruction of properties of many innocent citizens, as was witnessed in 2020. In Abuja for News Central, I am Idong Joseph.
Away from that, the Federal High Court in Abuja has mandated the Independent National Electoral Commission to hold state governors, their deputies and others accountable for cases of electoral violence, bribery, vote buying and conspiracy during the 2023 general elections. The court's decision, announced in a statement by Kolawole Oluwadare, Deputy Director of the Socio-Economic Rights and Accountability Project, orders INEC to appoint independent counsel to investigate these offenses. This includes probing electoral violence and other offenses involving state governors and their deputies during the elections. Justice Obiora Egwatu delivered the judgment last Thursday following a mandamus lawsuit filed by Serap. The court instructed INEC to investigate electoral violence and other offenses, identify the suspected perpetrators and their sponsors, and ensure their effective prosecution. Let's also tell you that a senior advocate of Nigeria and former General Secretary of the Nigerian Bar Association, Afam Osigwe, has emerged as the president-elect in the 2024 NBA election. The NBA election was held online and it began by 12 a.m. on Saturday, ending at 11:59 p.m. with the live results for all positions presented online. As of the final compilation at 12:40 a.m. on Sunday, Osigwe secured 20,435 votes, defeating his closest rival, chairman of the NBA Institute of Continuing Legal Education Governing Council, Tobenna Erojikwe, who garnered 10,998 votes, while former NBA Lagos branch chairman Chukwuka Ikwazom SAN got 9,018 votes. Osigwe is set to succeed the outgoing president Yakubu Maikyau SAN. Now, Philip Shaibu, who was recently reinstated as Edo State Deputy Governor by the courts, has officially rejoined the All Progressives Congress from the People's Democratic Party. The Deputy Governor, who returned to the APC alongside prominent members of the Dan Obi-led legacy group of the PDP, said it was back to add value to the party. It effected during the APC Edo State's inauguration of the National Working Committee of the Edo governorship election meeting held on Saturday. The meeting had in attendance the former governor of Kano State and national chairman of the APC, Abdullahi Ganduje, including the governors of Ondo State, Lucky Aiyedatiwa, and Cross River, Basio too. Earlier, we were joined on the news by Elvis Asia, a legal practitioner.
Legally speaking, when a judgment is delivered and a party files an appeal and also requests a stay of execution, the general understanding is that the judgment will remain in abeyance until the Court of Appeal makes a decision one way or the other. The House of Assembly started saying they filed a stay from the date of the judgment, which was not correct because the judgment was delivered very late in the day. It wasn't possible for them to file a stay on that day. And from the document I have seen, it appears they filed a stay the following day. But as it stands now, quite frankly, now that they are filed, it's expected that you wait till the Court of Appeal decides one way or the other on the question of whether or not to stay judgment, because an appeal does not automatically amount to a stay, and the courts would consider a lot of factors in deciding whether or not the stay should be granted. And in this particular instance, ordinarily, I don't know whether the court will consider granting the stay.
In the meantime, the Edo State government has petitioned the Inspector General of Police, Kayode Egbetokun, over the Thursday, July 18, 2024 breakdown of law and order in the state. Earlier, the state government accused Philip Shaibu, the reinstated deputy governor of the state, of orchestrating the violence under the pretext of executing a judgment of the Federal High Court in Abuja, for which a stay of execution had been filed and an appeal entered. In a recent twist of events, the government accused Shaibu of hiring armed thugs to unleash mayhem that resulted in the death of a police inspector, Akonu, in Benin City. According to a petition signed by the State Solicitor General, Professor Faith Osadolo, on behalf of the State Attorney General and Commissioner of Justice, the government said Shaibu, contrary to the rule of law, recruited a throng of heavily armed thugs, resulting in self-help, leading to the wanton destruction within the Benin metropolis and death of a police officer. The Gordon Obaseki-led state government urged the police to thoroughly investigate the matter by inviting Shaibu and other members of his gang, and if found culpable, be brought to book. For several years now, the Umuahia-Ikotepene Road has been in a bad state with little attention given to it by the federal government. All the promises to get the road fixed by various administrations failed until recently when the construction firm was seen on the road. News Central's Chinwe Ogeli has the details.
It is the shortest route to Akwa Ibom State from Umuahia, Abia State capital, but has been in a deplorable condition for as long as many commuters can remember, yet the longest and most frustrating route. Any journey which takes motorists through this route must have been one that leaves them with no choice. Recently, reconstruction work started on the road at various sections, giving hope to road users that their woes on the road would soon be over. It's been over 3 months since the construction firm in charge of this road got to this point, yet we are still where we are right now. There are no explanations on what might have led to the suspension of work on the road, but whatever caused it is definitely taking its toll on commuters.
What we are praying is that whatsoever that they know that they will do, let them come and do it fast so that the people will enjoy and also praise them on what they have done so far.
The road is so bad that, and then it's just out of negligence and then out of neglect. It's not that the resource is not there to fix it, but then I can't really say who should have done what should be done, but the road is terrible. It's so bad. In fact, some drivers have stopped flying this route.
All the previous palliative measures carried out by the federal and state governments on the road to ease movements only provided temporary succor. Efforts to get the federal government to fix the road began many years ago through the former federal legislators from Abia Central Senatorial Zone, but only got a little attention. In 2015, this was the state of the road, and by 2017, the Federal Road Maintenance Agency announced commencement of repairs on the same road. In this 2024, this is the state of the road.
The government work this road should be okay so that people will enjoy the road.
We thought that maybe by now the road was supposed to be completed, but until now the road is still bad.
The reconstruction of this Umuahia-Ikotepene road has taken so many years, but this time around, the citizens are believing that the reconstruction work will actually become something that will come to an end someday. For the road users, it does not matter whose responsibility it is to reconstruct the road, as all they care about is for the road to be fixed. In Umuahia for News Central, Chinwe Ogeli.
Many thanks for being there. Dozens more holiday flights have been cancelled across the UK, resulting in a third day of travel chaos for airline passengers following CrowdStrike's botched software update. After hundreds of flights were grounded by the global Microsoft IT outage on Friday, Knock-on delays have continued through the weekend, with EasyJet so far cancelling 24 flights at London Gatwick and British Airways cancelling a dozen of flights at London Heathrow on Sunday. It comes as Microsoft released a recovery tool to help repair Windows machines hit by the glitch after the company disclosed that 8.5 million devices were affected. The tool is designed to aid in quickly recovering impacted machines via a bootable USB drive. Meanwhile, the Australian Home Affairs Minister, Claire O'Neill, revealed on Sunday that CrowdStrike has told the federal government it is now close to rolling out an automatic fix which would enable systems to return online. Joining us to discuss this further is a cybersecurity analyst, Olusomi Fabode. Olusomi, it's nice to know that you joined us to talk about this on the news.
Thank you.
To even start with, looking at the monumental catastrophe that this particular glitch has caused not only in UK, but in several countries around the world, how come no one actually, saw it coming? No one was able to foretell such an occurrence in such an advanced country? Or is this something that could have happened to anyone?
Thanks for having me. So outages like this occur, they occur regularly, but most of these companies have a way of covering up their tracks and ensuring that it doesn't affect many customers. In this situation, because of Microsoft's market share and because CrowdStrike is the #1 leading managed cybersecurity platform for most of these multinationals, the issue was inevitable because a lot of these companies are using CrowdStrike as their security provider. So if Microsoft is your primary operating system and you're protecting your systems against cyber attacks, ransomwares, then it is inevitable that your system might get affected by this update. So the only way this could have been avoided is basically to have a redundant system and infrastructure that ensures that you don't just put all your eggs in one basket. That means you have a backup. You have more than one provider. It's not a supply chain issue.
All right, let's get it down to Nigeria now. How vulnerable is Nigeria's IT infrastructure to global outages like this particular recent one that we just talking about, the Microsoft incident?
Okay, because our banks and our airlines and most of our industry, they run off the backbone of the multinationals like Microsoft, like Amazon. Their cloud services are big in Nigeria. So, as I said before, it's almost inevitable that the average Nigerian user or the average Nigerian computer user or enterprise user will be susceptible to this sort of outage. So it's a disruption. It occurs. It happens a lot. But with best practices in your own Nigerian office at the management level, it's very, very possible to ensure these kind of things don't happen. But it's very, very difficult to say that because we're in Nigeria, you won't be affected. We are using a lot of Western technology. Infrastructure.
Of course. So in case of a probable occurrence or reoccurrence coming up, what are the specific precautionary measures now that you think Nigerian businesses should begin to take into cognizance to actually either mitigate the effect or actually stay insulated from such disruptions?
That's a good question. So as I said before, so best practice states that you should have a redundant system. So you shouldn't just put all your eggs in one basket. If I'm trying to secure 1,000 systems in my bank in Ikoyi, I'd rather secure 500 with one service provider and another 500, so that on a day like this, when this kind of thing occurs, you don't have 1,000 computers off and all my employees are not working. So you kind of have to have a layered structure where you put some of your systems under security of one provider and then another one on another provider. And then you can also ensure that your staff are trained to watch out for things like this. Although this is a cyber attack, but it just so happens to look like what the cyber attack would appear to be if there was one. This was just a blackout. The blue screen of death has always happened back in the day when Microsoft was still young. Then we all know what the blue screen of death is. But now it is a huge problem because now you can't fly, people can't go for surgery, a lot of things are happening. So if you have 1,000 systems, it is very wise and it's very prudent of you if you can ensure that you have more than one service provider. It's that simple.
So what if it was a malware? What if it was a virus? Because you just mentioned it now that thank God that is not a cyber attack. So what if that was what happened? Because Microsoft said that it has released recovery tools to help repair the Windows machines, but we don't know how long that would take. So if it was a virus attack, how bad do you think the situation would have been?
Oh, so this has occurred before. So in 2016, there was the Mirai. There's been a number of attacks. There was one Accra in 2019. So what happened then was people at the mercy of the ransomware group. So people didn't really know what to do. So in a situation where there's a ransomware or a cyber attack, the most you can do is reach out to your service provider and wait for a legitimate update. You don't try to fix things yourself. You don't really know if your engineers are not educated enough to treat a zero-day attack, an attack that was never on any database before, that any cybersecurity company knew about. So in those situations, you reach out to your service provider and you bring out your business continuity plans and your disaster recovery plans, and you ensure that you are doing the right things in case you have to face something bigger than what you thought was on ground, because most of the cyber attacks are very, very they're bad because they lock up your data. You have to pay before they get restored. So yeah, it's nasty business.
All right. So finally, considering the delayed rollout of recovery tools by CrowdStrike and Microsoft, how soon do you think this particular issue would phase out? Because, of course, like we've been able to establish, a lot of flights have been delayed, a lot of businesses are affected, a lot of travel time is on a downtime.
The best ETA, estimated time I can give, is perhaps a week. So there are some systems that are remotely controlled and they stand alone in remote areas. Those systems will need an engineer to perhaps fly there and go and get hands-on those systems. For systems that are in buildings, in banks, your engineer can easily follow the instructions by CrowdStrike, and within a few days, all your systems in your organization are back online. But for systems that are remote, that are managed by not your company but another company, those ones, it might take months because they might not be critical systems, so nobody really cares about them. For critical systems, once there's a patch out, once there are instructions from CrowdStrike and Microsoft, I'm sure within a few days, within a week, everything is back on track.
Okay, Olusami Fabode, cybersecurity analyst, thank you so much for sharing your thoughts with us on the news.
Thank you.
Away from that, gunmen suspected to be militias have killed 18 people, abducted 3 more, and destroyed properties worth millions of naira on Saturday in the Mbacha Council Ward of the Katsina local government area of Benue State. This is coming 2 weeks after the violent Zaki Biam protests that claimed 3 lives and destroyed numerous properties. According to a local source, the militia stormed the village in large numbers and opened fire on people. The caretaker committee chairman of Katsina Ala local government area, Justin Shaku, confirmed the attack to newsmen on the phone in Makodi and adds that soldiers got an intelligence report about the attack on Mbacha village, but before the soldiers could get to the area, the bandits wreaked havoc and left the area. In Nigeria today, undergraduates face puzzling challenges in deciding what career path to pursue after graduating. For young graduates, the task of learning skills even after years in school is said to be daunting. News Central's Chidimma Ona gives us more details in this report.
system has always been a part of crucial conversations in official and unofficial affairs. Among young Nigerians, it has been a challenge coping with cumbersome curriculums in school and coming out to face a different reality.
People think English is just for teaching. You just come out of school and start teaching. And to get jobs like that, I don't know, it's very, very low. But the reason why I'm actually studying English is because I want to go into journalism. But looking at it now, with the way the whole thing in the country is going, I don't even know if I should take that path or I should just focus on what I'm doing presently.
Based on what I study now, I don't think Nigeria is favorable in my course. So the best thing for me is to jackpot and get out of this country. I think, yeah.
Currently, I don't feel like this whole system engineering stuff is going to take me far with the way the country is going.
To many fresh graduates in Nigeria, the labor market has been unfavorable as they have to yet again equip themselves with a skill entirely different from what they studied in school. The concern becomes how the government will bridge the gap by upskilling students before leaving school.
The Nigerian labor market right now is very, very tough, and I believe schools should do better in including that into their curriculum. So basically, they are not training youth for the future. So there's a perception that, oh, you go to school, you read law, from law, for example, you read law, from law you become a lawyer, and there's no provision for what if they cannot jobs as a lawyer. What do you do? The curriculum in schools should be tailored and done for when I leave school as a student. I should be able to set up myself and not wait for governments or private bodies to employ me.
Another means to create a more flexible curriculum for students is taking advantage of what today's technology offers.
As a country, I think Nigeria needs technology to solve a lot of our societal problems, to be able to also, gain access to education at the highest quality. The beauty of technology is that it can democratize education, which means that you can reach millions of people with education. Virtual teaching now is the norm in most courses. So technology, I think, is at the heart of our development as a nation.
As we tackle the problem of rigid tertiary education curriculum, more young graduates should equip themselves with beneficial skills as learning never stops. In Lagos for News Central, Chidinma Ona.
Executive Officer of the Dangote Refinery, Aliko Dangote, says the refinery's product is in compliance with the global standards of 50 parts per million, with a test from the refinery showing 32 parts per million and 96 flashpoints for its diesel. During a visit by the leadership of the House of Representatives to the refinery on Saturday, Dangote revealed that the products refined at the refinery and petrochemicals are the world's largest single-train refinery, are of superior quality compared to imported equivalents and meet international standards. News Central's Adeshiwo Dushoga reports.
With the rising prices of fuel driven by an import-dependent oil and gas sector and a fluctuating foreign exchange, Nigerians more than ever before had looked forward to the commencement of the sale of petrol refined by the Dangote refinery. However, the production of fuel and sale, which was expected to begin in August, received knocks from the Nigerian Midstream and Downstream Petroleum Regulatory Authority, which alleged that the refinery had not been duly licensed, citing concerns of monopoly and inferior quality. In response to this allegation, the Chief Executive Officer of the Dangote Refinery, Aliko Dangote, reiterated that its products are in compliance with the continental and global standards. He said this during a visit by the House of Representatives led by the Speaker, Tajuddin Abbas, to the refinery.
As of today, we are 87 ppm, and I assure you, media, you can come again and take sample on Monday. By Monday, latest Tuesday will be at 50 ppm. By beginning of August, will be at 10 ppm. I just got the result from him, 5 minutes ago, we are now down to even 32 ppm.
This remarkable achievement does not merely reflect corporate successes. It symbolizes national pride.
During the tour, a sample of the diesel from the facility was obtained by the lawmakers from the refinery to test for the parts per million and the flash point. After the test, the refinery CEO revealed that the product were tested at 87.6 ppm at the first testing and went further to drop to 32 ppm. The flash point was also tested at 96 in accordance with the global standard.
The concept is this: there is no country in this world, none, that's countries that know what they're doing, that will allow development to be stunted because you want to bring in imports.
Every single cargo of petroleum product going out of this refinery has to be certified by NMDPRA. I cannot sell either locally or overseas without their approval.
The Dangote refinery is Africa's biggest oil refinery with a capacity to produce 650,000 barrels per day, with a chance to build the refining capacity of the entire African region. The $19 billion refinery has ended years of long wait for a plant set to create a market of $21 billion per annum of Nigerian crude. In Lagos, for News Central, Adeshawa Odushoga.
We now tell you that of the National Drug Law Enforcement Agency have uncovered illicit drugs concealed in incense candles and ladies' wear in Lagos. NDLEA spokesman Femi Babafemi said the items, which include consignment of cocaine and loud, were concealed in incense candles, game packs, dry hibiscus leaves, and ladies' wares. According to a statement on Sunday, the hard drugs were meant to be smuggled in and out of Nigeria through the Murtala Mohammed International Airport. Babafemi said some suspects were apprehended. Similarly, a businessman, Abdul Wahab Owolabi Alebioshu, was arrested at his Horizon Court, Lekki, Lagos residence after a consignment of 40 parcels of loud weighing 20.30 kilograms hidden in packs of chessboards, Scrabbles, checkers, and poker sets brought in from Canada was intercepted. On his part, the NDLEA chairman, retired Brigadier General Muhammad Abuba Marwa, commended anti-narcotics officers for the seizures. Now, 58 new sets of Nigerian women and children have been rescued from human traffickers in Ghana, bringing the total number of rescued Nigerians in Accra in the last 3 months to 105. The chairman, NIDO Board of Trustees in Ghana, Chief Callistus Eluziwa, disclosed this to the chairman, CEO, Nigerians in Diaspora Commission, Abike Dabiri-Erewa, when she visited the trafficked victims. According to a statement by the spokesperson of NIDCOM, Abdurrahman Balogun, 47 of those rescued are from Kano, 5 from Katsina, 2 from Jigawa, and 4 from Kaduna. He said 11 more girls earlier rescued have also been repatriated to Nigeria. The statement added that some of the suspected agents have been arrested and handed over to security agencies and NAPTIP for necessary profiling and prosecutions. From other continents, we'll tell you that Pope Francis has expressed hope that the Olympic Games in Paris would offer an opportunity to establish a truce in wars. He made these statements while demonstrating a sincere desire for peace during the traditional Angelus prayer. The Olympic Games run from July 26 to August 11, followed by the Paralympic Games from August 28 to September 8.
Questa settimana inizieranno i Giochi Olimpici di Parigi, che saranno seguiti dai Giochi Paralimpici. Lo sport ha anche una grande forza sociale capace di unire pacificamente persone di culture diverse. Auspico che questo evento possa essere segno del mondo inclusivo che vogliamo costruire e che gli atleti con la loro testimonianza sportiva siano messaggeri di pace e validi modelli per i giovani, in particolare secondo l'antica tradizione le Olimpiadi siano occasione per stabilire una tregua nelle guerre, dimostrando una sincera volontà di pace.
We also tell you that Venezuelan President Nicolas Maduro has asked voters to choose between peace or war during a campaign rally in eastern Venezuela. Maduro is seeking a third straight 6-year term in the presidential elections, which takes place on July 28th. Recall that rights group Foro Penal on Tuesday reported 102 arrests of people linked to the opposition presidential campaign. The government accuses the opposition of conspiring against Maduro, whose re-election in 2018 was rejected as illegitimate by most Western and Latin American countries.
El 28 de julio se decide el futuro de Venezuela para los próximos 50 años. Si viene una Venezuela de paz o viene una Venezuela convulsa, violenta y llena de conflicto. Paz o guerra. Si viene una Venezuela para construir una nueva sociedad de iguales, sin castas de apellido, donde construyamos nuestro propio modelo económico y retomemos el estado de bienestar social dejado por Chávez, o viene una Venezuela de élites con el pueblo excluido y todo privatizado.
Now, United States Geological Survey said a 6.2 magnitude earthquake struck Guatemala on Saturday, with the tremor also felt in El Salvador and Nicaragua. No casualties or damage were reported in the three countries. According to the USGS, the tremor hit at 8:53 p.m. with its epicenter 8 southeast of Jalapa City at a depth of 265.5 kilometers. The Seismological Institute in El Salvador also recorded the quake at a magnitude of 5.9, while that of Nicaragua registered it at 5.2 magnitude. In sports, the Academy's team of Sporting Lagos defeated FC Tokyo 4-0 to win the Under-17 Boys Elite category of the Gothia Cup in Sweden. The senior team of Sporting Lagos got relegated from the Nigeria Premier Football League last season, but they have had cause to celebrate. Sporting Lagos became the first Nigerian club to win the tournament, which will soon celebrate its 50th year. Babatunde Akomolede was named most valuable player of the competition. Sporting Lagos eliminated another Nigerian club, Beyond Limits, 5-4 in the semi-final. Oscar Piastri secured his maiden Formula One victory at the Hungarian Grand Prix amid a dramatic McLaren team strategy involving Lando Norris. Piastri led from the start, building a significant gap over teammate Norris and managing the race through strategic pit stops. Despite McLaren's plan to manage positions through pit strategies, Piastri briefly lost time at turn 11, allowing Norris to close the gap to 1.5 seconds. Expecting Norris to undercut him, Piastri was reassured by the team not to worry, anticipating a position swap later. Norris executed a strong undercut, but initially resisted team orders to yield his position. Eventually, he complied on lap 68, handing Piastri the lead and taking second place. Lewis Hamilton claimed third after a tense battle with Max Verstappen, who faced frustrations during the race. We also tell you that Rafael Nadal's return to the final after 2 years ended in a defeat on Sunday at the Bastard Open, where he lost 6-3, 6-2 to Portugal's Nuno Borges on clay. Despite showing promise in earlier matches, Nadal struggled with his serve and ground strokes against an aggressive Borges. The Spaniard initially broke back but faced challenges throughout the match, notably struggling with his first serve. Borges capitalized on Nadal's inconsistencies, securing crucial breaks to dominate the match. The loss came just ahead of the Olympics, where Nadal hoped to regain his form. Borges, ranked 51st in the world, capitalized on his opportunities, securing his first career title and defeating Nadal in their first ever encounter. And that's all at this hour, but before we go, we'll take a look at some of our major stories. Labour Party has faulted government allegations on Peter Obi's involvement in a coming strike. Court has ordered INEC to hold state governors responsible. Uganda's President Museveni has warned would-be protesters they will not be tolerated. Don't forget to send your eyewitness report to the WhatsApp number on your screen. Do follow us on social media. We are at News Central TV, or you can watch News Central live on DSTV channel 422, Star Times channel 274, Avo TV, and YouTube. Many thanks for watching. I am Lekan Onabanjo.